So the guy telling us this story says that his father grew up very close to his great-grandfather. It started very young, where his great-grandfather would take his dad out to work on the farm. His dad explains to him that it would be the same thing every day. They would wake up at 3 in the morning, have breakfast, and then by 3:30 they were walking out that door. So just like any other day, they woke up at 3 in the morning, had breakfast together, and by 3:30 they were about to walk outside of the house and head over to the farm. In order to get to the farm, they had to walk by this river. So right before they were getting to the river, from afar they can see that there was a woman on her knees. So when the great-grandfather sees the lady, he turns to the guy's dad and says, "See, we're not the only ones who get up in the middle of the morning to come and work. Look at the lady, she's already washing clothes." Side note, in Mexico, a lot of people go to the river to wash their clothes, just in case you didn't know. So the dad, obviously telling his son now the story, says that when they got to that lady, because they had to pass by her, both the great-grandfather and his dad said good morning to her. However, that lady did not respond. She didn't say good morning. She didn't say anything back to them. They really thought nothing of it. It didn't really affect them, so they just kept on walking to get to the ranch. When they were a few feet away from the lady, the dad doesn't know why, but he turned to look at her one more time, and she was no longer at the edge of the river. She was actually nowhere where he could see. She was gone. So he turns to his grandfather and tells him, "Hey, that lady just disappeared. I don't see her anywhere." However, what they thought was strange was they can continue to hear that sound of a lady washing clothes in the river. When they were passing by her, they can hear, that motion of washing clothes, and even though they couldn't see her anymore, they can still hear somebody washing clothes in that river. His grandfather got a little worried, so he just stopped, turned around, and was looking for this lady like all along the river. They wanted to make sure nothing bad was happening, but they couldn't find her. That was also in the moment when they started to hear somebody like whining and crying. He explains how the grandfather got this like aha look in his face, where he's like, "I know exactly what the fuck this is. Let's turn around and let's walk as quickly as possible." They were both very scared, but they started walking really fast towards that ranch. However, they really didn't get that far, because in that moment they started to hear those cries and whining so close to their ears. Obviously they turned around, but there was nobody right behind them. Now this is where the great-grandfather was like, "Run, start running," and they both started running. However, for those seconds that they were running, they can still hear those whining and crying right behind them, and then in the same note, far away from them. And then they started to hear that crying and whining in front of them. And obviously in that moment where they then heard these whining and cryings in front of them, they stopped running altogether. And that is when they saw her in front of them. They said that she was floating. Obviously seeing this lady floating in front of them, the grandfather said, "Turn around, we're going straight home." They did end up making it back home without this lady, getting in front of them or running behind them or whatever it was. And they didn't end up going to the ranch for like the next 3 days. They were terrified that they were gonna see La Llorona again. He says that his dad will never forget that experience, and even though he's older now, he continues to share that story with the new generation in that family. The fact that they were scared and still like ran, La Llorona would have taken me. I would have been crying with her. We would have been Las Lloronas. This just makes that theory about La Llorona like being attracted to families with kids more true. Because what if she had been seeing them 3:30 in the morning with the little boy? The audacity though. The audacity of drowning your children and then you want to take somebody else's? What the fuck? Okay, bitch, don't come for me. Anyways, what do you guys think?